This is your mini lecture for lesson 108. We skipped 107. It's not part of your assignment sheet. So here's 108. We're going to learn 3 trigonometric identities. I think I probably gave you guys one of these sheets at the beginning of the year. I don't know how many of you still have them, but it is a nice little formula sheet. These ones right here are the ones you're going to learn today. They're the Pythagorean identities. So sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1, tangent squared theta plus 0 equals secant squared theta, and 1 plus cotangent squared theta equals cosecant squared theta. This is your trigonometry kind of gets mixed in with your, you're going to learn some trigonometry between now and the time you go to calculus. So you'll learn more in pre-calc, but you'll learn more trigonometry, but you're going to start learning it right now. So I'm going to kind of show you why this one's true, and then the other two, if you want to try to prove them yourself, that's fine, or you can look in your textbook. So sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. I think the way I'm going to try to explain it to you is just if you think about your unit circle, you know how x is cosine on your unit circle and how y is sine? Like you guys all have your unit circle. Where's my unit circle? See? And you know how the circle has a radius of 1, right? This radius right here is 1. Well, guess what? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's Pythagorean theorem, right? But the sides of this triangle are x and y, right? There's x. So I could say x squared plus, and that's y, because that's the y value. Y squared equals, and what's the hypotenuse on the unit circle? It's 1. Well, x, that's cosine. You know what I mean? So I can just say cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals 1. I don't know if that's a nice enough explanation for you, but that's why it's called the Pythagorean identity. And then you can derive all the rest of them from this one, or from looking at the unit circle. So anyway, they like to just have you work with this. I'm just going to do some problems for you. I'm going to do A, C, F, and G. I think I did put it on your assignment sheet, but I kind of don't really want you to have to do that because you don't have the graphing calculator. So here's 106, letter A. Sorry, it's not 106, is it? It's 108. Here's 108, letter A. So it says, show that sine squared theta, it says show this. And they want you to show it for 60 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in 60. I'm going to say, okay, sine squared of 60, and show that when I get those values that they actually add up to 1. So sine is the y value on my unit circle, and it wanted 60 degrees. So it's root 3 over 2. Cosine is the x value, which is a half. And we want that to equal 1. So root 3 times root 3 is 3. And 2 times 2, that's 4. And that's 1, that's 4. So that gives me 4/4 equals 1. So 1 equals 1. Okay? Easy. And then you just do it the same way. If they want it in radians, you do it in radians. what I wanted to do was letter C. Letter C was weird. 108. Letter C. Letter C, you kind of have to use your calculator, so... Oh, that's not my favorite calculator. Let me get my favorite. Okay, so... What does it want? It wants tangent squared theta plus 1 equals secant squared theta. And what else does it want? It wants for 98.5 degrees. So that means I got to use my calculator. So I'm simply just going to plug it in. It's not super hard, but it gets a little decimal-y. Okay, so that means I have to find tangent of 98.5, and then when I get it, I have to square it. So my calculator, I go tangent, and that's what it equals. But then I got to square it, so I push my little square button. And then I have to add, so that's about 44.77 plus 1, right? So I'm just going to add the 1 to it right away. So that's 45.77-ish. Okay, now let's see what happens with secant. Oh, secant. So how are we going to get secant? So secant is a reciprocal of, because I mean I don't really have a secant button. Secant's the reciprocal of somebody. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So I'm going to write that as 1 over cosine squared 98.5. Okay, so that's 1 over, so cosine 98.5 is that number. But then I can square it with my square button, and I get that number. And then I'm going to say 1 divided by that number. So now I go 1 divided by that number. Hey, it had a good ending. I'm just going to write number because I forgot what it was already. But didn't it turn out, I mean, we can see that it turned out to be 45.77. So you got to show like that on those. That was letter C. I think I'm going to skip letter F because I just don't have enough time on my YouTube video. And I'm just going to kind of show you letter G in the book. Okay, letter G says explain why. Letter G says explain why 1 plus cotangent squared theta equals cosecant squared theta. And then it says hint, graph y1 and y2. Well, that's, you would do something like that with a graphing calculator, but you don't have one. So let's go right here. So if you graphed it, there's all the answers. Hey, don't be looking at the answers. There's some free answers for you though. If you graphed it with your graphing calculator, you'd get this. So cosecant, I guess, is this inner function, and cotangent is the lower function. And you can see that they look the same, except for that this upper one, it looks like it just got shifted up by 1. So, and that makes sense because look, it says cosecant squared theta. Is that 1 plus cotangent squared theta? Well, we just learned in the last lesson that when you add 1 to something, it just shifts it up. So this whole thing, you don't have to show the graph, but this is your answer for letter G.